Remember where I was?
Well, you were saying you weren't sure where things were.
Oh, okay. So I'll just go back to a different place, and I'll start with that different place. And I'll start with the fact of the adoption and of how badly it affected me. And I became manic depressive after that. First they thought it was depression, and they gave me as a child, they gave me phenobarbital. And then eventually they stopped the phenobarbital, and it became clear to the doctors that I was a depressive, but that wasn't true. That wasn't a good definition of what I had. And I found a doctor who, in fact, did understand what I had. And before I found him, though, I was given Ritalin. And Ritalin, as you hear the ads and all the rest of it, is a dangerous drug. And because it wasn't having as much effect on me as they wanted, they kept on upping and upping and upping the dosage until I was a speed freak, basically. And then I found a psychiatrist who understood those things. And I walked in, and so tell me what's going on. I said, I have mood swings, and I'm also strung out on Ritalin. And I described some of the symptoms, of a speed freak. And so he said, yeah, you got to get off of that stuff. I said, okay, I'll quit right now. And he said, no, you can't. You have to wean yourself from it because it's addictive. And if you don't, then you're going to have a fallback, and you're going to have to take even more. And it's just going to be a vicious cycle. He said, I want you to get off of that. It's going to take at least 6 weeks. And after the second week, and I'm coming down from the high where I was overdrugged, down to a place where it was more moderate. And then he gave me Wellbutrin, and then I was able to wean myself totally from the Ritalin, and I was on Wellbutrin. And that, in fact, did stabilize what they were then calling bipolar, and which I called bipolar for a while. And now I realize that that's just a damn euphemism for something that they don't know. And what I am is manic depressive. And part of that, for me, turns out to be I also was a rageaholic. So I was not the greatest guy. And I lost the first marriage because I was really nasty. And then I had a girlfriend who was with me for 10 years. When I met her, I was 45 and she was 22. And we stayed together until she was 32. And then we split, and we're still very, very, very good friends. She's going to come out and see me next week. And she's come out to see me many times. She got married, which is what she wanted to do. She has 3 children, which is what she wanted. They're all girls, which is perfect for her. That's what she wanted. She homeschools them, which is great. And she's terrific. And she could never have had those things with me. She's a stay-at-home mom who does all the things that she always wanted to do. And I would have given her a whole different life. But anyhow, that's kind of the raging stuff. And then it continued. And I'm at the point now where I'm sick enough that the Wellbutrin no longer works. And so I've spoken to my psychiatrist. He's going to do an office visit. That's how serious he is about seeing me and getting it down right. And we've been together for a long time, so he's going to get it, So I'll get meds that'll work for me. And and I haven't lost my temper, really gone into a rage maybe 3 or 4 times since I started the Wellbutrin. And so that's where I am now. I only take the Wellbutrin, and I take Xanax because I'm high anxiety. When you're told you're going to die, and this time you know it because your weight's 100, you take a lot of Xanax. So I take about 2, 3, 4 a day. And they're highly addictive. I forgot to take a couple of doses, and I found out what it means to be cold turkey. And it's very, very unpleasant. Nobody wants to go through that, believe me. And Xanax is one of the most addictive, so cold turkey is really a tough road. So as soon as I found out what I had done to myself, I started taking the Xanax again. and I was off that, and I make sure now that I never run out of Xanax. So anyhow, that's kind of in between stuff, but it has to be understood that I am what aggressive. I'm depressed and I'm what's manic. Yeah, good. Because I was thinking about it. Okay, so I'm manic depressive for real, and I have controlled my temper to a great extent, and I am much more reasonable and don't bait people much beyond being a contrarian, and I found out that a lot of people really liked me when I could calm down, but it wasn't soon enough. It killed my last marriage. In between, I had the 10-year relationship with the woman who's now married, Paulette, and she put up with the mania, and she put up with the depression, and she has told me that there were tough times, and we would get into arguments. She threw a ashtray at me or something. I don't know what she threw at me. She threw something at me, and she says she intended to miss me, and she did miss me. It just went past my head like that. It would have made me, instead of manic depressive, it would have made me moronic. So, I mean, she was really aiming. And, but she stuck with me. And finally, after the 10 years, or almost 10 years, I broke up with her because I said, look, there's no way you're ever going to get what you want, and you're too young to be denied that. And so I broke up with her, because every other time that we had broken up, we always got back together again. Even if I broke up and had another girlfriend who wanted to get married and who was the same age as her, you know, so I wasn't giving up too much. And she called me up, and the other woman was in my apartment, and I said, I'm not going to talk to her, because if I do, I'll go back to her, and that'll be the end of our relationship. And she said, you can't do that. You have to talk to her. So I talked to her, and 3 months later, Paulette and I were back together again. And anyhow, that's kind of what happened there. And then...
You said you were married 3 times.
Well, I consider her... She'll see this, and I hope her family doesn't. But... yeah, I considered her to be my common law wife, because we were together for so much, and we had so much affection for each other. And what we had was really, truly affection. I mean, I got as much joy as walking around holding her hand and talking, you know, or riding our bicycles around Claremont, where we lived at the time, with cucumber peels on our face, because they're cooling. Both of us are riding our bikes around Claremont with these cucumbers on our faces. So she was open to that kind of stuff. She was crazy. The first one was crazy. And the third one, Susie, was also crazy. I mean, but that's what I like. That's